Okay. 80% of Pimp My Ride was fake. Here's the evidence. Oh shit.
My house, it's a staged house.
And the contestants' houses weren't the only thing Pimp My Ride lied about. The reactions were staged and retaken multiple times.
At least 10 times? To get like a reaction out of the car? Holy crap. Bro, like, god dang. Just, bro, like, you got like 1 or 2 shots. Maybe 3, but like, other than that, it's not getting any better after like 10 times. Like, it starts to get like clowny after 10 times.
Certain upgrades were taken off as soon as the cameras cut.
It's for a boat. He goes, it's a GPS for waterways. It will not work in your car.
And disappointingly, even Exhibit himself had no real interest in cars.
Soccer moms coming up to me, telling me about their husband and their car that he had since the 60s.
Oh my god. Wait, what is all this? Please don't be like NFTs that he put on his wall.
And I was like, stop talking to me about this. I know as much as you do.
When asked if the show
Oh my god, this is so funny. Even Exhibit was like, stop talking to me about cars.
Was fake, a former contestant replied with a single word correct, which isn't surprising as the show even lied about who the contestants were.
Bro, my childhood is being ripped apart. The longer I live in life, the more and more my childhood is just crumbling down before me. I used to watch Pimp My Ride all the time. It was so cool. It never even occurred to me in my little child mind that any of this was fake. Like any of it. Or like I didn't think about like the usefulness or anything like that. What the hell?
For example, in Season 2, Episode 10, Brooke was introduced as a 22-year-old film lover working hard to go to grad school, which had been fabricated by the producers as she was actually a 25-year-old cocktail waitress planning to move back to New York.
Wait. Going to move to New York from where? New York and California are like the most expensive states to live in. Unless you like hit it off somewhere and you got like some decent job, like you don't go to New York. Most of the time it's people make their money in New York and then go to some other fucking state that there's like either no state income tax or just the general, what is it called? Oh shit. Like the minimum wage or like the standard of living is just so much lower in terms of like financial stuff. Like it's way easier to live in Florida than it is, or like any southern state, than it is to like live in New York or California. It's ridiculous to like, to go from like, I don't know, Alabama, Mississippi, or some states over here or whatever, to go into New York. You're already going into like, I don't know, you're just going into the grinder, dude.
Planning to move back to New York. The reason for this, as explained by Jake from Season 3, was because Pimp My Ride only picked people in their early 20s.
There was a strict age limit of 22 years old.
Confirming that the show was lying about contestants' details before filming had even started. In the first
okay, so they get a young person that just, I don't know, got out of middle school, or not middle school, the fucking, like maybe they got their AA or something, or their bachelor maybe, and they just got like maybe their, I don't know, first or second car, and it's still a beater, and then they just fabricate a whole story.
30 seconds of each episode, Exhibit emphasizes that each contestant doesn't know they're about to get picked.
He has no idea. I'm about to pimp his ride.
Yet this was strange, as the contestant always answered the door, always had a microphone on them, and even had their windows blacked out, as if they didn't want cameras seeing inside. Well, it turns out Brooke, the supposed 22-year-old...
I never picked up on that, dude. When I was a little kid watching this shit, I never picked up on any of it.
old film lover, had been pre-selected by a friend to appear on the show, and as a result she'd state when Exhibit showed up at my house to tell me I'd been chosen, not a surprise. Well,
it's kind of funny because like when you think about it in retrospect, it's like he's going to these people's houses at like what do you call it, midday, when the sun is at its highest, like noon or whatever, and it's the middle of the week. Most of the time people are going to be working in that little time slot, but here they are just sitting at home doing nothing. Oh, I'm ready to be filmed on the show, and I'm perfectly dressed up in jeans and a shirt and like halfway not degenerate looking clothes. Like I don't know, like maybe like there's never anybody that answered the door in like their pajamas, or like maybe just like no shirt on and just basketball shorts or something, or nobody answered the door like naked or some shit like that.
What was a surprise was when the producers made me react and then react again to Exhibit showing up, finally coercing me into doing a cartwheel, and she wasn't the only contestant who'd had this experience.
And they coach you on how to say it and what to say and everything like that.
The show didn't have an actual script, but they did steer the dialogue in a direction that they wanted.
It's like the reaction they're getting is like this over the top, like overreaction from the people. Like, oh my god, this is like so life-changing, and it's like this they want this like cartoon level of excitement to come out of the person, which aids in the, I don't know what to call it, like this like fake guys that you know that people like, what do they call it, like they fawned over like celebrities whenever they see them in real life. They have this like over the top reaction where it's not even like real or whatever, and then when they go to like post the show or whatever on TV, your final product is this look of like this cartoon level of like unreal like reaction to a celebrity. It's like, oh, they're doing this over and over again every episode. I guess that's what I should do to whenever I see a celebrity. And that's where this whole like self-perpetualization of like, oh, we gotta idolize celebrities and all this shit. And it's like, bro, I mean, yeah, it's understandable to have like to be like a little bit starstruck whenever you see like, I don't know, your favorite famous person or whatever, but like you don't need to have this over the top cartoon reaction, you know? You can have like, they're just people or whatever. Like and actually they don't want you to have an over the top cartoon reaction to just being in someone's presence. It's ridiculous, dude.
If I said something they liked, they would have me repeat it over and over on camera. This had been commented by Seth, who appeared in season 5, who was also well aware that Exhibit was coming to his house, stating, "They told me I was in the running for my own episode, but it was between me and 2 other people. When I was sitting in the house waiting for a knock at the door, they said that it was either going to be Exhibit or a producer telling me I didn't win. Thinking back on it, that was all bullshit, but it did make the surprise genuine, which was the same experience as Erin from season 4, episode 2.
She was one of 3 contestants. One of them would be chosen. Someone came and knocked at the door. If it was Exhibit, they won.
Each contestant was at least somewhat aware.
So they have this like little built-in loot box, like mechanic to like fish out like a genuine reaction out of these people. And it's like, this is like the game, like you get a little bit of that gambler's high when it's like, when you actually, I would imagine you would have to at least know who Exhibit is. Because, like, what if your friend put you in the contest, but, like, you just see this black dude, like, show up at the door, and it's like, yo, what's up? You won. You're on Pimp My Ride. And it's like, what? What the fuck is this? Could you imagine that? Like, just Exhibit showing up and be like, who the fuck are you? Oh, my God. That's so funny, dude.
That they'd be getting a knock on the door because, well, the homes they were in were actually owned by Pimp My Ride. A Huffington Post article clarified these houses were oftentimes not the contestants' homes. Instead, each dwelling had been rented by MTV. For example, when Jake from season 3 was asked, did the film crew show
the homes weren't even real? They weren't even filmed at their houses. Oh, what? So why would he fabricate the beginning of there's like 3 people that are possible winners, but 2 of them, a producer's gonna show up, but then the one person has exhibit show up, but the winner isn't even gonna be in their own house. What do you mean? Or maybe this was like an evolution of the show and how they did things. Like in the beginning, they went to people's houses, but then they came up with like issues arose, and it just, we ended up having to, you know, just pick someone, put them in the house. Everything's fake. Exhibit's gonna show up, and it's like, wham.
Show up and stage the whole surprise as part of the episode, he'd respond by stating it wasn't my house. It was a place owned by one of the crew members. Similarly, Seth from season 5 stated, the house was rented from Craigslist because I lived in an apartment, and they need a house with a big open driveway for filming, which is certainly reasonable, although sometimes the house was part of the person's story. In season 2, for example, Eric's car had supposedly been beat up.
Also, you know, it's like, it's like, okay, you have to be 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So that's somewhere in there. At that age, for most people, you don't have a house, even back in the day. All right, you know, not gonna fuck with inflation, whatever. But even back in the day, you had to have a house. So what does that mean? You're still living with your parents. Okay, so at least you get to lean on your parents to, you know, provide you with a house and give you a beater car. Like, this is the most fabricated, fake ass shit now that I'm thinking about it in retrospect. If they wanted to like do this shit for real, like have this whole crew show up to somebody in like a fucking mobile home that doesn't even have a car. It's like, we'll pimp your mobile home or some shit like that. Or like, this is so ridiculous, dude. It's actually crazy. Like having, oh my God.
Up in the rough streets of Compton.
In Compton, ain't no street lights in Compton.
However, judging from a quick look at Google Maps, it seems the episode was filmed in a much nicer neighborhood. So if Eric's story was inconsistent and Brooke's story from earlier was downright fabricated, then
where's who's that the GeoGuessr guy? Rainbow? Oh my God. I think it's Rainbow. I think that's his name. Bro, he could have easily debunked this shit. Oh my God.
And who else's stories were exaggerated for the sake of the show? Well, it seems pretty much all of them. In season 3, Jake's Buick had been bought from his grandma who smoked, and as a result, the show threw an extra few dozen cigarette butts in the car to make her just look like a totally disgusting person. On top of this, the show interviewed Jake's girlfriend toward the start of the episode, yet MTV apparently questioned.
Bro, watch him just be like, bro, I am gonna guess that there's gonna be a point in this video where he's like, the cars aren't even theirs. We just had to go to some either like used car dealership, or we had to go to like a junkyard where they didn't crush the cars yet, or some bullshit like that. We buy the car off them for like $500 or $1,000. We put the car on the fake property, and we just get like some random person off the street and we give them a story, and then we do all the shit to the car to like make it brand new.
Me having a girlfriend and suggested I dump her because it was better for my desperate dude with a shit car image. A producer later responded by stating, why would we want a kid to break up with his girlfriend? How
because it's good for the story.
Would that have helped the show?
Because the lower a person comes from, the more come up they can have. Right? If you take someone that's right here and you just elevate them to right there, that's not that big of a come up. But if you take a person that's down here and then elevate them to like up there, that's a huge come up.
So while Jake's claim about his girlfriend was somewhat questionable, the cigarette story was confirmed by Seth, who had a similar experience. I know I'm fat, but they went the extra mile to make me look extra fat by telling the world that I kept candy all over my seat and floor just in case I got hungry. However, it seems the fakest story was...
So I kind of do that. Well, I used to kind of do that, but like not in that regard. Just keep it like scattered about like right there. And I eventually learned it couldn't be chocolate. Like, I think it wasn't really candy. It was more like just mints. Like, I think it's kind of reasonable to have like, I don't know, some gum or some mints, like just stashed like right there or whatever in your car. Like, oh, I'm about to go someplace. My I didn't brush my fucking teeth, so I better just pop a mint or some bullshit like that. I think that's reasonable.
Justin's in season 6. His front bumper had supposedly fallen off in a car crash.
Here is the result.
This is actually true and but very believable. Having people roll around in cars that they got into like minor car accidents with, like a bumper, yes, is like it's a safety thing, but at the end of the day, like if you try to take this to the mechanic, then they try to fix this. It's like, oh, it's gonna cost a lot because it's just cosmetic and bullshit. The car can still run. The car can still get you from point A to point B, from your house to your job. And it's just like, oh, fuck, I don't got any money to begin with. And then it's just like, oh, God, now I have to fix this fucking bumper. And it's not entirely a necessity, but I probably should do it. Or I could probably just fucking put some duct tape around it and hope for the best.
Of a 3-car pileup right here.
Although according to a 2010 tweet, my friend Justin was on Pimp My Ride. On TV, he said his RAV4 was involved in a 3-car crash. No, it wasn't. Dude beat his car up with a bat. The same user then clarified, what he told me was that MTV suggested to him that he and his friend should do more damage to the car, which was confirmed by Justin himself, who'd add, yes, they removed my front bumper, used aircraft remover, and enhanced the dent on the side of my car. Whilst introducing the—
oh my God. Bro. Like, ain't no way anyone's fucking touching my car and like making it worse. Are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna destroy my car a little bit worse just so it looks better for TV? Get the fuck out of here.
The episode, Justin stated,
one of my crazy ex-girlfriends actually threw nail polish on my hood.
Although when he was asked why are all your ex-girlfriends so angry, Justin revealed it was just something I made up, while Erin from season 4 was also encouraged to make her car look bad.
They asked to leave trash in the car. We went to In-N-Out, and so they told me to leave it in the cup holder, so I did.
It seems the only real part of the show's intro was Exhibit's improvised dialogue.
Because it wasn't scripted. I could say whatever I want to say.
And when
oh my God, that's so funny.
Exhibit drove the car to the shop,
Exhibit did actually take the cars and drive them away, with the exception of a few that were too broken down, and then they made it look like he did.
although this segment created even more problems. Most people believe that PMR takes the car and gives it back in like a week or something. That's what I thought was going to happen too, but in actuality they took my car for roughly 7 months, being a massive inconvenience for some of the show's contestants.
And they make it look like they're moving really, really fast, but
what the shit?
in reality, they weren't.
When asked for the 5 months they had your car, did they supply you with a replacement car? Justin from season 6 replied, no, they gave me $2,000 to rent a car. But I was 19 at the time. I rented a car for a month and it cost me $1,000, forcing Justin to find his own
So I pocketed the rest.
transport for the remaining 4 months.
Yeah, I mean, like between the ages of 18 and 23, it's kind of up in the air. I mean, you probably should have a job, but when I was 18 to 23, I sometimes had a job, I sometimes didn't. There were times where I would have a job and then they just let me go for whatever reason, and then I'd have to go get another job, and then I would get money from that one, and then it's like, oh, it's only seasonal, sorry, we don't need you anymore. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you for the opportunity anyway, thank you, bye. So it's like, when you're between those ages, you probably should have a job, but it's like, it's awkward.
Seth from season 5 had a similar experience, being forced to go to a really small shady company off the freeway by LAX because they were the only ones willing to rent to me because of my age.
Yeah.
It sucked having that rental car because they wouldn't take payments over the phone, so once a month I had to drive all the way from West Covina to LAX just for them to swipe my card. Although the rental situation was better for other contestants.
Damn.
They had my car for about 6
What? Was the snake always right here in the other parts of the video? Why am I just noticing this now? I thought this was a scarf. This is a snake. What the fuck?
6 months, and that time I had the rental car for 6 months as well.
With Jake from season 3 adding, they gave me a really nice Mitsubishi Lancer to drive for the time they had the Buick. In the meantime, the crew began to plan how the rides were going to be pimped, although according to a former production staffer, this was also somewhat staged. The boardroom scenes with the WCC crew took a long time to shoot. They often had to be fed line by line. Some of those guys never really got used to being on TV. Some of the lines in the shot probably seem rehearsed because producers would come up with them and feed them to the WCC guys, although excluding this, the mechanics were fairly innocent. The segment
Oh, okay. At least the mechanics were like, you're the guy with the spikes. You're the guy with the backwards hat. You're the guy with the long hair. Everybody has to be their own character. Everybody has to be their own main character.
Fairly innocent. The segment where they'd pimped the car was almost impossible to fake.
They really did put shit in the vehicles and change everything out.
But when contestants were shown what their new car looked like, Pimp My Ride employed even more staging. Finally came the day for the big reveal. They filmed my reaction to the car at least 10 times before I'd even seen it. And when I did, holy hell. Poor Betsy looked like Barbie's dream car from hell. It was pimped to the nines and hideous. This had been written by Brooke, who gave a much different reaction during her episode.
Beautiful, perfect color. Exactly the color I want.
While every other contestant also filmed their reveal multiple different times.
We had to take a lot of takes over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Justin stated they had to keep retaking my reaction. Seth stated I even had to do the reveal of the car like 3 times.
Yeah, this is what happens when you just get random people like just off the street and like random mechanics. This is what happens when you don't get actors. You know, you just get random people, and like I guarantee you the genuine, like the take one reaction of all of this shit was probably like more down to earth. It's like, oh yeah, hey, that's my car. Hey, what'd you do with it? Or maybe it wasn't like as cartoony as they would have liked it to be, and it wasn't as over the top, so that's why they had to keep on retaking the reaction. Maybe they weren't standing in the right spot, like, oh, you gotta stand on the X and then wait like 2 seconds and then go forward and all this dumb shit, dude.
However, Jake's reaction anecdote was the strangest of them all. His first real reaction to the car was just quiet amazement where he said, "This is good." They immediately yelled redo and then things got a bit weirder. I remember this very clearly.
Oh,
Big
geez.
Dane, very big dude.
This is good. That's kind of a funny reaction. This is good. He's probably like beside himself. This is good. Oh man.
He like puts his arm around my shoulder, kind of walks me around the shop for like 10 minutes and he's like, "Listen, we put a lot of work into this. We expect you to be a little more enthusiastic," although it would have been hard to conjure enthusiasm for a car that barely worked. As Jake would later write, "The problem with the show is they don't fix any of the mechanical issues, and my car was a piece of shit. What they did was..."
Yeah, because when you show the person the new car, they don't get to see all the hard work that the mechanics did to, you know, go in that goes into like creating the final product. All you see, or like the person sees, is like the outside. They just see the paint job and it's like everything's like newish looking. They don't get to go and see, like, all open up the hoods and open up the trunk, open up the doors and all this other shit that they have inside. You don't get, there's not like a menu that where it's like, oh, we took your little cheapo $2,000 car and we added $50,000 of, like, well, probably more than that, to be honest, like $100,000 worth of shit in there of like TVs and churro makers and all this other shit, and we gave you like 5 PlayStations in your car. It's like they don't get to see that like right off the rip. All right, if I remember correctly, it was like they did the reaction, they did the reveal, and then they did like the tour of it like after. Then you can appreciate and like know what is happening with all the like what they added and shit. And it's like a basic phone, dude. Like this is a fucking modern marvel. I have no idea how much work and effort it takes to fucking make any of this, dude. But I like anytime I get like a new one, I'm like, oh, my reaction would have been like, oh, this is good. This is cool. Very nice. All right. But no, that's not good enough to buy like a new phone. Like the amount of effort it takes to make like a new phone, or like when you buy a new phone and appreciate everything like that goes into it. It's a fucking supercomputer in the palm of your hand. And you just go off and buy like another $1,500 one. It's like, oh, nice. No, I am a regular person and I can't comprehend that level of time, effort, energy, math, physics, so on and so forth that goes into making one of these things. It's something like that is like, it's incomprehensible to me. So, and then you want to have to fabricate this fake over the top reaction of like, oh, they put in this much effort, so your reaction has to match or exceed it. It's like, that's not how this works in at least a general fashion.
Was make my piece of shit sound exceptionally awesome, which is great, just not great enough to drive on roads. The HuffPost article expanded on this by stating, the car needed a muffler, and so a fake exhaust pipe was installed to make it seem as if that's what the car was supposed to sound like, even though it was just a lack of a muffler, while Exhibit brought up a much more dangerous incident.
There was an instance where one of the cars wasn't fixed correctly, and long story short, this kid was driving this vehicle that was supposed to be like damn near brand new, and the steering wheel came off when he was driving.
It's therefore no surprise that the production staff has said, I can say that the cars often weren't fully ready when we shot the reveal. Some had to stay in the shop another week or so to get finished before the kids got them back, especially if they had mechanical issues, and it was Seth and his candy bars who seemed to fit this category. Pimp My Ride doubled down on his supposedly crappy diet by installing a cotton candy machine in the boot of the car, which didn't even work as the cotton candy machine didn't have a protective hood that fit. So
oh my god, that's so funny, dude.
So if I tried turning it on, it would get candy strands everywhere. Very messy, so I never used it again after the shoot. Seth also never used the LED lights installed in the seats as...
That's so fucking pointless. Like, LEDs in the seats? That's where my fucking ass goes. Dude. Yeah, it's nice to be like take it out and like, I don't know, maybe go to a car show and turn them on. But you're sitting on lights and electronics at that point.
They would get really hot if left on, while he also...
It's like having a permanent seat heater on. Like, you know how some cars have like the heated seats and whatnot, and how you can turn it on or off? With the LEDs, hopefully there was like an on or off switch with those, but like, damn, I'm sorry if there wasn't, dude.
Also had to remove the gull-wing doors because the pistons used to lift them kept them from putting seatbelts in the back, which was highly dangerous. To add a cherry on top of the cake, he had to fork out a further $1,700 for a brand new engine, then adding, after that I drove it for a month.
What? This makes no sense. I saved up $1,700 to put a new engine in it. What? They didn't fix the engine? They just added all the everything. So it's like they fixed everything on the car besides the engine. Like, what are you guys doing over there? Like, you don't have a car unless you have an engine, dude. You mess with the paint job, the seats, the electronics, the drive fucking shaft, the wheels and all this other shit. But you can't fix the core part, the fucking engine. I don't care how hard it is to take apart and to put back together. That's what makes the car. And you can't even touch it? Jeez.
Month before someone hit me and totaled it. However, the end to Justin's RAV4 was even more brutal. After 5 years of taking his pimped out ride to car shows, Justin's RAV4 caught on fire whilst driving as a result of faulty wires. It was later confirmed that this had nothing to do with the show, and at least Justin's car was the same one he first sent in, as when Tavrish uploaded a video titled I bought an abandoned Pimp My Ride minivan, he'd make a shocking discovery. The show originally introduced the minivan as a 1998 Plymouth Grand Voyager. However, Tavrish discovered the car was now a 1999 Dodge Caravan, showing that after they wrecked the original minivan, the show sneakily pimped a completely different car. As a result, Exhibit has been the brunt of most of the show's backlash.
Well, no, Exhibit is just like the head person of the entire thing. So it's understandable that a lot of people, or at least the masses of people, would just go to Exhibit and just be like, how could you do this? And blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro, he's just the host. He didn't even have a script. He's just riffing all of this shit. This, again, just goes to show you the complexity, and however complex you think Hollywood is, it's probably not. It's way more simple.
face of the show. You know what I'm saying? So people associate me with what happened to the car.
Which feels pretty
yeah.
unfair given
That
every
sucks.
contestant has said he's an awesome guy. In fact, Exhibit only did Pimp My Ride for the following reason.
I actually did Pimp My Ride because I thought they was gonna play my music videos.
However, it instead seemed to have the opposite effect.
The show was taking away my credibility of what I've already done. It was taking so much time. I wasn't able to tour. I wasn't able to.
I didn't think about it like that. I mean, I still like some Exhibit songs. Yeah. I mean, for me anyway, but honestly, like at the time, I never heard about any of the negatives of Pimp My Ride until like years later, and watching this video of like how fake it was. But like, bro, he's just a host. He didn't even have a script.
To record albums.
Oh damn! I definitely didn't know.
I was there.
Bro, people are so fucking petty. It's like, what was he talking about? Like some of the labels or whatever, the studios wouldn't let him record there because the quality of Pimp My Ride was so low. Bro, these motherfuckers are so fucking petty. Fuck them.
Film it.
Which is even more depressing given he was barely paid for it.
But at that particular time, you wasn't really happy with the pay though.
Nah.
And as a result, it's no surprise that Pimp My Ride is unlikely to make a comeback.
When are we gonna get a Pimp My Ride?
No, there'll be no more Pimp My Ride.
No. Oh, damn. Bro, go back.
You're at a house.
This was very revealing on how real / fake Pimp My Ride was, and just how how the show operated. And it was just a very much the case of we're just flying by the seat of our pants type of deal. That is actually crazy. Bro, I could have made this fucking show. Just give me access to like the ability to like edit an episode and put that shit on TV. I could have made that shit, dude. Like, geez. Dang. I can't imagine, dude. But hey, thanks for making it though, man. Another banger from
It's not my house.
From Sunny V2, and yeah, go check him out, man. He does a bunch of great videos, and I can't wait to see the next one. All right, so I'll catch you guys later. Peace.